Welcome back everyone in this new video tutorial um, about auto battlers, but it's not going to be. I'm going to stop call that a tutorial and I'm going to call that live development because I figured that I was not explaining so much things and it was kind of it's really fast and it might be a bit pretentious to call that a tutorial, so I'm just going to go ahead and change the name to live development instead. So welcome back to this new live development video about auto battlers, and in this video we're going to build up the grid logic. So without further ado, let's dive right in and go to BP to the level folder. Let's create a new blueprint class which is going to be our square, BP square, like that, and we're going to open that up. And we're going to quickly add two things, which are a mesh and I think square, a box collision. And what is going to be the root? The root is going to be the static mesh, and the box is going to be above that. We're quickly going to add a logic that puts the box ab above, depending on its z height. So get box extents set relative location, and we're going to make that, and we want to break that vector, and we want to put the box above by half the z height, like this. The static mesh for now is just going to be a plane. We want the engine content, we want that to be a plane, or I mean maybe rather a cube, because it has a 1 meter 1 meter by 1 meter, so it's kind of clearer. We're just going to make that big enough so it contains the cube. The cube was supposed to cube 1. Okay, so that's 1 meter, I think, and we want the box to be 50 by 50 by 50. Yep. So it's not quite the proper height, and I'm not sure why. I think that's because it's half on the ground as well. The cube must have its pivot point above. Let's see if we put that on the map. What does it says? Yeah. Okay, so the pivot point is in the middle of the cube, so that's kinda. So we want to have a root component. Root is going to be there. We're going to attach that. We're going to hit compile, hit save, and we want to put the box above as well. Like that. I'm in the static mesh. We want to get the scale. We want to multiply. So we want its z location. So this divided by 2, I think. Bad blueprint. Oh yeah. We want to set the relative location of that. Maybe not divided by 2. Oh yeah. We got 1, but we want to. Yeah. Multiply by 100 divided by 2. Yep, like that. It shouldn't be there. Where is the pivot of that? Anyway, yeah, it's right in the middle, so it should be right in the middle. and it's not. I mean, it should be right on the bottom of it. And if we're not dividing it by 2, yeah, okay, that's it. So this is a square. We want the static mesh to be really thin, and we want that to be white, so we're going to hide engine content now. And I just want to create a new material, which is going to be in common, in base rather, material aim m base color. We want that to be a constant tree. We want that to be dynamic color. We want that to be like gray by default. And we'll create an instance of that, an instance. We're going to call that low gray, for instance, and we're going to use that for our box. This is going to be movable, absolutely movable. We're just going to delete that. So this is going to be our square. I want that to be a little bigger. How do we do that? I want to create a variable name, well, I mean size, which is public. This is going to be 1 by default. And how are we going to do that? We're going to add another scene component. And we're going to put that in here. This is going to be scale root, and we're going to multiply this by the size divided by 100. It should not change anything right now, but if we change the size, yep. Oh yeah, but it's scaling the Z as well. We don't want it to scale the Z. Yeah. How are we going to do that? It means we're not going to use a scale root, we're just going to do the math by ourselves. So we're not going to multiply the Z. Point 0.02, 0.01, 0.02. So we're going to scale the box as well. By that number, I think. Okay, so we've broke something. So the post-process volume, that's not what we want the square. So the box is no longer at the proper location, that box. We want to multiply this by that. Yep. Okay, so we got a square. We can do the grid now. We're just going to say that the static mesh has no collision of whatsoever. The box, we're going to create new collision settings. We need 2 of them. Everything is going to ignore the cursor, and everything is going to ignore the focus. We're going to create a new collision settings, which is going to have query only collision. It is going to be focusable, and it's going to be a world dynamic, for instance. It's going to ignore everything but the focus, and it's going to overlap with it. And we got blockable, which is going to block the cursor but not the focus. Yeah, that's it. The ground is going to be blockable like that. The box is going to be focusable. We need to refresh to get it focusable. No collision. Like that. Back to maybe we broke the drag and drop logic. Yeah, we did. But it doesn't really matter for now. We're just going to build a grid. Variable, grid size, vector 2D is going to be public. For now we want like 10 on 5. And in the construction script we're going to add child actor components. We're going to create a new function, build grid, call that in our construction script. Add child actor component is going to be a square. The transform is we're going to build that, and for loop for each of our square from 0 to size -1, another one -1 as well. So we're going to build our grid like this, and we're going to have a grid class because we might be a square class. We might be using square of different size. It might not be the case. You might not want to, but I might do. So this is editable. By default is going to be the square. We're going to get class default. We're going to grab the size, exactly what we wanted. And what do we want to do here? We want to change the transform, the location. We want to make the location. The x is going to be the area index multiplied by the size. Same for the y. If we hit compile, we have a bunch of tiles, but it's not working because we need to it's quite strange that it's not working. So if we grab the grid and we put that on the map, what does it give us? We're going to go to class settings, remove run construction script on drag, so that way we do not lag when we move it, but when we drop it, only when we drop it. So why is it not working? Oh, maybe it is actually it is working. So we have I'm not sure. I don't manage to find if it's working or not. It looks like it is. Okay. So grid size 5 by 5. Yeah. So it's working, but we need to have the focus on that. I'm just putting that how it should. Yep, exactly. So I can move them because the box at their feet still overlaps with my cursor. Um, and I think okay, I understood also where our bug of cursor came from. So if we open up our player controller, so instead of interacting with units, we should be interacting with squares, like that. And how are we going to do that? So first off, we want that to work. We want that to work. So how are we going to do that? When we're finding we want the hit results by channel. We want the cursor, and that's the first step. So we are no longer interacting with them, but that's okay. We're going to draw a point there. Point is going to be small. It's going to be green. Okay, so we're not seeing it, but it's there because we have a ground underneath it. Yep. And then we want to multi-trace by channel, multi-sphere trace, I think, and we want to start and end in the same spot with a small radius. We want to grab focus. We're going to draw it for one frame, and we're going to say that the first hit result we get is the hit result we're going to analyze, like this. So we have our sphere. I don't know why the material is behaving this way. It's kinda problematic for the eyes. Maybe we can do something like maybe it comes from there. Roughness. I'm just going to try something out with the grid. Just going to add some kind of padding. Yeah, it seems I don't know why it's behaving this way. I really don't. So we need to make our, I mean, by how it's behaving this way, I meant the texture, why it's tearing our eyes apart. So we need to make sure our unit is actually reacting to our cursor. So this should be focusable. Okay, so when it works, it's that's because the ground is not taking the first spot in the sweep result. But actually, we want to interact with the ground, so that's okay. So how do we want to do that? We want actually to interact with the ground. So if we hit a square, we want to focus a square. How are we going to do that? Yeah, we actually want to focus a square. So we're going to rename that. We'll let that, oh yeah, square. Yeah, we don't want to use that anymore because square are going to contain a unit, and we're going to grab the unit by that. So in our controller, we're going to have get unit in square, which is going to return a unit like that. Get focus square is going to return a square, and focus square, set focus square is going to grab a square as well. Yeah, we're going to have tons of errors, it doesn't matter. Yeah, so we're going to get unit square, we're going to set focus like this, because this is going to return the unit in our square. Like this. Guess focus square, we don't want that, we want that. Get unit in square. Stop moving unit, that's the unit we need. We're not going to use that anymore. We want to check if this is equals to that. And focus square like this. And focus square. Want to hit compile, we want to see where we are using that. So when we unfocus the square, we want to check if we have a square right there. We want to set focus, this is the unit in our square, which is no longer going to be focused. And in here we want to clear that as well as that. Okay, that's it. Focus unit is no longer used, okay, it's used there. As focused square, and we're going to check for that. We're going to delete that like this. So we can no longer focus the guys, but it doesn't matter. Yeah, get unit in square. This is yeah. It says no. That's because when we focus square, it's automatically trying to focus the unit, so we're going to tell the guy not to do that. And also when we unfocus the square, we don't want that. We want only to set focus when it's good, when there is a unit. So we want to do it that way, and we're no longer going to have an error. Oh yeah, yeah, I didn't plan that, but it's quite fun. Obviously we can do that. I did not think about it at all. That's quite fun actually. Okay, so that wasn't planned, but we should not have errors if we do not, if we're not drag and dropping, we should not have any errors. And we just want to do something. When we find focus square, we're drawing a point at our cursor location, but we actually want to draw that point at the location of our focused square. So if we have a focus square, we want to get that location, plug that here, and say that's it. Oh, I don't want to grab M. So yeah, but it's looking a bit strange because of our sphere overlap. We might not be doing that after all. For now we're just going to say the sphere overlap is like really small. We don't want to grab. Yeah, so it knows what location we're focusing at. Now we need to make sure we can grab units, and we cannot do that. So when we press left mouse button, we're trying to see if we're moving a unit. If not, we're trying to start moving units. So we are moving units, but only if we have a unit in square. We actually have to check that before, I think. When we click as focus square, is this the only place we're using this? Okay, so this is going to be as units to focus, and this is just going to check if get unit in square is valid. I think we've already done that. If there is a unit to focus, we're going to do this, get unit in square as unit to focus. Was it correct? Yeah, it was. Like this. Yeah, what's wrong? Okay, get unit in square, of course. Where are we using this the other times? Okay. Okay, that sounds correct. So when we click, do we have a unit to focus? If yes, we're going to. So we no longer can click. So if we're not, we're going to start moving unit. And when we update move unit location, we're just going to say get unit in square, like this. So it's going to be moving our unit in square. So that's what we want. So they do not have any unit to focus. And how are we going to do this? I think we're going to do it from the units. Units are going to check and find square. When they spawn, they're going to find their square. We're going to overlap, box overlap. We're looking for focusable. Okay, we cannot do that. Sphere overlap. multi-trace by channel, multi-sphere trace by channel. That's what we want to do. Get my position plus like 1, radius like 20. We're going to check for focus, and we're going to ignore ourselves. Ignore self. It's not going to care. We're going to look through all the results, and if we find a square, we're going to grab that and tell the square we are on ourself. We are contained within ourself. So if we find a square, we're going to tell her the hosted units is myself, and we're going to move ourselves to the position of that square plus our height, which is 50 if I remember correctly. And if I hit compile, it's already working. If I hit play, I can focus units, but when I drag them down, it's not working anymore. I think we need a two-way reference there. We need the unit to know what square it is in, or rather, no, we don't. We don't care. We might need that later on, but for now we don't. So that's just when we start dragging. Oh no, when we start moving units, we need to tell the square that it no longer has a unit. Like this. And when we stop moving units, oh yeah, but if we do that, if we empty, we can no longer use that reference while we are moving the units. So we're just going to do something like storing the dragged units, and grab that dragged unit, that moving unit, and we're going to create function for that. Get moving units. It's going to be pure, and the parameter is going to be called return value, like that. So where are we calling this? Where we will need to call moving units. Start moving, no. Stop moving, yep. Get moving units. Get unit in square, nope. Get moving units. That's pretty much it for that. So we're going to empty the reference when we get it, and when we stop, we're going to grab the focus square, and we're going to tell the hosted units is equal to the moving units, and we're going to clear moving units like this. So we can no longer drop. That's because we forgot to, so we need to check if we are moving there. Oh no, we need to do that when we stop dragging. Are we storing the moving units? No, we're not. Start moving. Yeah, we are. Okay, I'm lost between drag and move. So what's the problem here? We can no longer drop. When I click, it does not happen, but if I do it if I hold and drop, it works, but units are not in the correct spot. It's quite strange actually. So what's the deal here? So first off, why can't I let go? Why can't I let go? So I click as unit to focus. This is the thing that which is not working. So if I do not have a unit to focus, maybe I'm okay. So that's if I'm not moving and I have a unit to focus. Because if I'm moving, I necessarily have a unit to focus. Yeah, so I can drop, but there is still the issue that the unit is not dropped at the correct spot. So what's wrong? It stays at the previous location, so that's quite strange because I'm emptying the focus square unit, and when I drop, maybe I do not have a focus square. Yeah, that's it, I think, because find focus square is not working when we are moving units and it's not correct. Yeah. So last thing we need to do is to move the units, is to drop the unit at the correct spot. Okay, so how do we do that? It's quite easy. When we stop, I think, update move unit location, we don't want to put the actor location at our cursor location. We want to put that at the location of the focus square we have. Or there is another way. So there is this way. So we're going to build the settings just because that's fun. A new variable is going to be, we're going to delete that. We're going to duplicate the dragging. I'm sorry. We're going to create a new variable, make that a boolean, and this is going to be called snap move, like this. So we're going to select the vector out of here. So this is even the settings you could give to your players. So you can either, so if it's snap move, you're going to snap to the focus square. If it's not, you're going to snap to the cursor. Like this. So this is not snapping. This is snapping. In any case, we're going to do a last logic which says when we stop moving units, we want to get moving units, set actor location, and we want to move that. We're actually going to make that even cleaner. We're going to create a new custom event called lerp moving units to square, and it's going to grab a parameter as a reference. No, it's not. So when we stop moving unit, we don't want to say that we're done. We want to say that we're going to lerp moving unit to square, and it's actually going to be called final stop move. Stop moving unit is actually false. We're not really stopping there. we are actually completing the end of the movement, which is going to be concluded by a move components 2, which is going to move the units to the middle of the square in like 0.2 seconds with a ease in settings. And when it's completed, we're going to say that we're no longer moving and we no longer have a moving unit. And what are we moving? We are moving the root components of our moving unit, like this. So yeah, it doesn't know where it should go, strangely enough. Target relative location, yeah, of course, obviously. Get focus square, get position, like this. Yeah, plus 50, which is the height of the units. So we should have something which handles that, but we don't for now. So that's ugly. I don't like it. Maybe the time was wrong. Yeah, apparently the timing was wrong. Maybe the is not correct as well. I want that to be a bit closer to me. Okay, so that's too much. Oh, what error we might have? Get square focused? Strange. So, that sounds correct. The timing was off maybe. And if we're not snapping, how does it look like? Snap move disabled. Okay. You can even make that snap speed um, final square snapping speed. No, that's move speed. So final move speed, we're going to duration, we're going to call that, and we're going to make that even faster. Yep. So we have units and they are on squares. So that's pretty much a nice, and we removed the drag and drop bug. So we're starting to be, yeah, we're starting to look a bit better. So I think the bug comes from I drop the units in there, I think. If I do that, it won't say a thing, but if I do that, it will say, yeah. So I think we need something like we cannot, we should not be able to, if we update our unit moved location and we no longer have a focus square, if it's not valid, we're not going to do anything in there, and I think it's going to fix the bug. Okay, so it's still, that's quite strange actually. Yeah, it should behave that way. Sometimes it's working, sometimes it's not. So it's quite strange what's happening there. So if we are finding the square to focus, so our cursor location, if we no longer have a square, we should be unfocusing the square. That's what was going on, I think. Yep. We had a bug. So that's what I want to happen, but we managed to make it bug earlier, and I wonder how. I wonder how. Well, it doesn't matter. I don't manage to. Okay, 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 okay. Stop moving units. Set hosted units. So if we stop moving units, yeah. So I know where the bug comes from. So if we stop moving units, whereas we don't have any focus square, we're not doing anything, and we should be doing something else, I think. Strange that I can. Sometimes I can exit, sometimes I can't, and I don't know why. If I pass, if I hover over a unit, I can go out, but if I don't, I can. That's quite a strange bug, and I'm not sure why it behaves this way. So if we have, so units should not be focusable at first. Yep. Let's say they have no collisions for now. So I can't. If I hover over a square, yeah, I shouldn't be able to. Yeah, okay. The problem lies in the fact that we shouldn't be able to focus the units if we are moving. So we need to update the square, but we should not be focusing the unit if we are moving. First, first things, same thing, if we are unfocusing a square, we should not be unfocusing a unit, and this we should be unfocusing the moving units. Oh no, exactly the bug I was exactly the thing I was talking about. If we are not moving, we want to unfocus the unit we are hovering off of a square. But if we are moving, we just want to tell the system that we unfocused a square. I think that's one of the problem we had. We are no longer snapping, it appears. Whereas, okay, we're not in snap move. I have trouble realizing the size of the. So yeah, we can no longer get out. Yeah, that was the thing I was talking about. Yeah. So if we click outside, we should just cancel and drop the unit on the last focused square. I think. Yeah, that's what we're going to do. So if we exit, we're going to promote the focus square a variable to a variable which is going to be called last focused square, like that. We're going to empty the focus square, and when we stop moving units, if we do not have a focus square, we're going to drop that on the last focus square. But we have a situation there. That's because when we final stop move, we need to use the focus square as if we had to say set focus square equals the last focus square, but it might be creating bugs. So we'll see. So if we do not have a focus square, we're going to do this like that. Yeah, yeah, it doesn't like it. Yeah, 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 of course. Because the tick event tries to check what square we are focusing, and it's not finding any. So we need to do something like square to move to, or we can do it even better. I mean, even hackier. We are going to tell the system to go to the last focus square, like this. And when we stop moving units, we're going to tell we might be doing this as well. So the last focus square, so if we have a focus square, the last focus square is going to be the focus square. If not, we're not going to update that. I think it should be working. It's not. Last focus square, it's failing to find it. And I wonder why. Because I wonder why it's failing to work properly. Oh yeah. Oh, no, I don't know why. It should be working. So it's always working when we're not getting out of the. just failing to find. If it's not valid, we're not doing anything. But in that case, last focus square should be valid, because when we're unfocusing a square, oh yeah, no, in any case we're not moving. Okay, we should be doing this in any case, I think. Okay, so what's the matter? The matter is that, so it's really bothering me, because it's the one last thing that we need and it's not working. And I think the only problem is that in some cases last focus square is not valid for some reason. So okay, when I does this, he likes it, and in there it's not valid. But I don't know how it cannot be valid, because we have a focus sphere. Okay. So if focus square is not valid, yeah, I print last focus. Yeah, it should be valid. Why is it not? I'm leaving. And focus square. So I have a square. I am moving. Maybe because when it ticks, I already do I already cleared that, but I did not, since I cleared that here. So I'm having a hard time understanding why it's not. Because it clears it all the time. Okay, if this is valid, this is called in tick, so I think this basically clears the last focus square all the time. So if I do this, I think it's going to work. Yep. But it fails to it fails to clear the focus on our unit. So why is it so? If we do not have a focus square, get moving units, this should be working, but it's not. And it's quite strange that it's not working properly. We want to print the unit, I suppose. So it's valid. Yeah, of course it's valid, obviously. Else it would have thrown an error, and it's managing to go down. So it's strange that the outline stays, but the unit does not stay in the air. Because it's not okay, it's not handled by the same thing, because we have drag state, but we also have okay, so when we focus square, we are highlighting the unit. Yeah, and we can drop units where they exist, where there is already a unit. So it's going to be the subject of another video, and we're also going to fix the outline problem in the next video. So hope you guys enjoyed that video, and hope to see you in the next one. Bye bye.